Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to Cherokee Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning. And today's episode is brought to you in part by Alma Coffee, sustainably grown, veteran-owned, and direct trade, which of course means from seed to cup, there are no middlemen. Please go check them out at myalmacoffee.com and go visit their roastery cafe at 3448 Holly Springs Parkway in Canton. Ask for Harry or the brains of the outfit, Letitia, and tell them that Stone sent you. Today's going to be a lot of fun, gang. Please join me in welcoming back to the Business RadioX microphone and our broadcast today with InkWell Designers, Miss Desiree Colonna. How are you?
I'm great, Stone. It feels good to be in front of a microphone again with you.
It's like old home week. It just feels natural. It feels right. We're getting a chance to visit, but it's been a while since you and I have seen each other.
Yeah.
What are you up to? What are you out there trying to do for folks these days?
Well, InkWell Designers is a company that I started in 2006 and 2016, I'm sorry. And basically what we're doing is we started out in calligraphy, and I was doing that just to have some fun with it and a little art therapy, as they say. And then it grew from there. People started to ask for embossing, and we started embossing leather goods and Bibles. And then all around us, the Christian stores started to go under. So we now are one of the only ones in the entire U.S. that still stamp Bibles, believe it or not.
Wow.
And from there, we bought a laser. And we started with a glow forge, and now we have an epilogue, which is a real high-end laser. And then we have a UV printer. So basically, Stone, what I say is, if it doesn't move, we can print on it.
What fun. And the way that you and I got reconnected, oddly enough, is met one of your team members at the Woodstock Business Club, which I've thoroughly enjoyed being a part of. What a marvelous group. Just a great group of people who genuinely want to help each other. Met one of your team members, but she has another special designation in your life too, right?
Yeah, my daughter, Emily Scales. Yes.
Shout out to Miss Emily.
Yep, she's manning the store, as they say today. So she is working and making some things for a client today. So she couldn't be with us.
So when I met her, she was wearing a hat, and I don't know what is it? Is it embossed or embroidered or whatever? But it was more edgy than some of the promotional hats. For those of you who have been in the studio, and we've been here in this studio for almost 6 months now, I think, a little over 5 months. It's becoming the hat studio. I have hats hanging in the studio from local businesses, Reformation, Pie Bar, Dentistry of Old Town, Alpha and Omega, who's also one of our host clients and sponsors, Little River Outdoors. But all of those are more traditional, I guess I would say.
They are.
Except my most recent hat from Alpha and Omega.
Yeah.
You guys did that one. They're edgier. They have a different look to them. What is that process?
So basically, what we do is we cut their logo out with the laser on what's called leatherette. It's not leather, but we can do leather, but this is leatherette. So then we take the leatherette and we print it with the UV printer. So it gives it a very different look that you're not going to find anywhere else. It's not leather. It's not engraved. It's printed on in full color, all the colors. There's no 2-color, 3-color. It's any color you want. So, and we can do that on tumblers, metal, glass, you name it. So there's a lot that we can do with that.
So when a small business, medium-sized business, I guess large businesses do this as well. But when a business is thinking about personalizing, customizing items like this, it can be overwhelming for what my perspective is worth, because there's just so many options. Is a part of your work helping a guy like me just think through what is going to be the best expression of the brand for what you do? Is there a consultation aspect to this to your work?
Absolutely. And basically, we need to look first at who the company works with. What is the age group? What kind of items would be helpful for them? I don't like to just give everybody a tumbler. I mean, we probably all have about 10 to 15 tumblers in our kitchen, from some kind of conference or business meeting or something. So what we do is look at who your clients are and what kind of items would be helpful for them. The hats are something that are for Alpha and Omega. It's perfect. They like to wear the hats to basically when they're working.
Sure.
We can do T-shirts as well. We just look at what would be useful for that particular client. And whether it's a pen or a journal, I mean, there's all kinds of things out there that we just found recently, a fan that you can literally plug into your phone and the fan works. And
Sweet.
We were in Las Vegas this week. And
I bet you could use it.
It was nice. Yeah, we really needed those. And that brings up a whole other part of our business, which is our events. And we were really, really busy. I was doing probably 3 to 4 events a month before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
But things are starting to
come back a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, they are. And at events, and we still, actually, during the pandemic, we still worked. I have another thing that I do. It's called hand engraving. And we hand engrave wine and liquor bottles.
Wow.
Local Vine, I'll give them a quick shout out. They're over by Cumberland Mall.
Okay.
And we engrave liquor and wine bottles for them. We'll be completely covered up during the holidays, engraving wine bottles for people to bring to parties or give as gifts. So we can put, Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah, all hand engraved. And I'm the only one who does that in this area.
Wow, what a unique and custom gift. So is it in the glass? Is it it's in the glass?
Yeah, it's in the glass, and it's using a dental drill, believe it or not, that's used for dentures to actually engrave deeply into the glass. And it's very unique. I had to go to Texas to learn how to do this. So,
well, speaking of learning how to do this, skill set, background, let's talk a little bit about your backstory because it's pretty deep and involved. You have picked up some skills that are not very many people have them, right?
Yeah. Well, as you know, I used to own Bella Web Design. I still do. I still have a few clients that are with me on the web design side. We host their sites. We don't take on any more clients for Bella. But basically, I went from designing for the computer and visual, where you can't touch it, to designing for things that I can touch. So, a tumbler or a mug or something so now it's so cool to be able to design on the computer and put it on something that I can touch, and say, here, and give as a gift. So my skills from the web design world really came in handy with Photoshop and Illustrator in learning how to use all of these machines. That's the key. And I tell my daughter this all the time. Once you master Illustrator or Photoshop, the world is your oyster.
So the background, and I was aware of that, going back to Bella Web. Yeah. But as you think through your backstory, how do you think you landed here? Are you just the type of person that is maybe a little better than most and always has your antenna up for a new way to serve, or was it pure luck? Or
well, believe it or not, it was one of my Bella Web Design clients who suggested that, as you know, I lost my husband about 7-8 years ago, and I was going through a mourning period. And one of my clients, who was a lawyer, told me, hey, you should really learn this hand engraving on liquor bottles and wine bottles. I'm doing really well at it, and I do it every weekend. I'm thinking, here's a high-powered lawyer in Houston, Texas, and he's engraving on the weekend for the PGA and for American Express. And I thought, there must be some money in that. And there is. So basically, I went to the same teacher that David went to and learned how to do this. And it just has taken off. My clients include Hermes in New York, Saks Fifth Avenue, American Express. I've traveled all the way around the world, Lisbon, Portugal. We've been there, and Las Vegas, LA to New York, and everything in between. So people love the engraving. And then we added the embossing of like luggage tags, so we can put monograms.
Luggage tags, that makes sense.
Luggage tags, key fobs. We've got an event in Alpharetta this weekend where we're going to put monograms on key fobs. And we have just, I don't know. Stone, it's like this. If somebody asked you, how did you get into radio? How do I get into radio? And you go, it just kind of happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to do it my way.
Yeah, right. And thank goodness that one of my clients saw that I was just doing calligraphy for fun, and he saw what I was doing and thought, well, this would be something new for you to try. And then from there, I've had my clients go, well, can you stamp jewelry? Sure, I can learn that. Or can you sublimate? Sublimate is putting a design on something that's coated with polyester. For instance, if you have a Business RadioX mug in here, which I'm sure you do somewhere, that's probably been sublimated with heat.
Actually, we have a bit of a supply chain problem right now.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe I need to talk with you about that after we go off air. But no, the last 2 or 3 people that have come through here, I've said, I owe you a talk show mug.
Right.
That's kind of a Business RadioX thing, right? You remember from back in the day. I
remember.
So that's sublimate. That's a whole other process.
Whole nother process that I know. Yeah, I just kind of picked these things up. And the beauty is my clients have actually, encouraged me to learn these things. Like we're doing a jewelry stamping. I've never done that before. We're doing this in October for one of my event planners. Event planners are one of our main clients. And so they find us and, hey, could you learn this? Sure, I can learn that. And I did. So now, we've got an Etsy shop. And of course, we're going to offer jewelry stamping, in the Etsy shop. We do resin. We can make a cutting board that looks like an ocean is laying right on top of it.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we do all kinds of stuff. You know what, Stone? It's good and it's bad to have a very curious mind because it can get me in trouble.
Well, it sounds like you and Emily, your team, you work hard to say yes if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the old days in Hollywood, they always had the actresses who could dance and they could sing and they had all kinds of skills. Well, when they first started out, they said yes to all of these things. And then, the studio heads would they'd send them to school and teach them what they needed to know.
Right.
That's kind of like what we are. We say yes to a lot of different things. We say no to. It's not everything. There's one thing I will not do. Do you want to guess what that is?
I hesitate to guess, but I'm anxious to know the answer.
Okay. I'm allergic to needles. I don't like needles.
Oh, okay.
So I don't embroider. That's the only thing that we won't touch.
How about that?
Yeah, I won't embroider. I just don't like
So this leatherette thing, and it's way cool because I have it on my Alpha and Omega hat.
Right.
Can that be put on a shirt since you don't embroider?
It sure can. Jeans, backpacks, shirts, you name it. It's ironed on. So.
I love that idea because here in the radio business, we're a little bit cash.
Yeah.
and I'm known as the hat guy around town.
Right.
I've been here like 4.5 months actually here in town. We've run the studio for closer to 6. I know every bartender in town, and I'm the hat guy.
Well, there you go. Well, now I got to get you a Business RadioX hat.
Well, I think maybe I really like the Columbia shirts or the loose fitting. I've got a little prosperity showing nowadays too, but I'm thinking one of these things like on the something like that on the chest of a shirt or something.
Absolutely.
That is really cool. So at these events, are you actually creating stuff live, or are you just kind of showing it off a little bit and taking orders, or how does that work at the events?
We are creating live. So we just embossed 700 luggage tags.
Holy moly.
Over 2 days for purchasing power here in Atlanta. We traveled to Las Vegas and went to the Las Vegas Convention Center. That was a lot of fun, and just sat and stamped luggage tags for people. And, you know, the best part of that is seeing their face. When people see their name or their initials on something, they get so excited.
Yeah.
And that is the magic of that. And we had a line all day long for 8 hours at our booth. And the next day when we walked in, there was a line of people waiting because they had seen the luggage tags that other people had the day before.
Right.
So that's the magic of doing live embossing at events or live engraving. So, yes, people absolutely love it.
So this kind of thing, does that mean that you can afford to, and in some cases choose to do things in smaller quantities than maybe more traditional, larger shops, like maybe an Alpha and Omega or Business RadioX doesn't have to get 1,000 hats?
We have no minimums. No minimums. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never believed in that. To me, it's the same work to do one hat as it is to do 50. And I think that getting in the door and doing that one item for somebody always leads to more.
I'll bet.
Yeah. So no minimums.
That is cool. Okay, so you work with Emily. That must be interesting. Maybe it has its challenges, but I'll bet there's some real rewards. Tell me if you don't mind, share with us what it's like to work with a family member in the business. How has that been for you?
Well, it's been fine. You know, surprisingly, we've been getting along very, very well. You know, mother-daughter, she's 23, so she's got a mind of her own.
I'll bet.
But I got to give her credit. We were gone this week, and she had a project that she had to finish, and she came in on, our days off are Sundays and Mondays. Because we like to be open on Saturdays because people like to pick things up on Saturday or drop things off.
Right.
So she came in on a yesterday, to finish some dog bandanas for a company called Sit Means Sit that we work for. And she gave up an hour of her day off to do that. So you know what? Kudos to her.
Amen. I mean, at 23, I thought a lot about stone.
Right.
I can remember I had a lot more answers at 23 than I did. I'm full of questions now, but boy, I had it figured out at 23. So absolutely kudos to her. So how does the whole sales and marketing thing work for a firm like yours? Do you need to go out, and do you choose to go out and try to spread the word, as it were, or are you at a point in your work now where it really comes more to you?
You know, that's a really, really great question. The events, we are pretty established because before the pandemic, we were working with all the top people, the top marketing, top event planners. And I did not have my office. I just bought my office in October last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's right off of Town Lake Parkway.
Oh, wow.
I'm a member of Cherokee Connect. And
I've recently gotten on there and I see people can ask questions. Do you know a good this?
Right, right. So Realtor posted that office and I bought it the same day.
Wow.
Because I knew it was going to go. It was in a really great spot. So it's right off of Town Lake. So now our focus is growing the local market. Okay. Uh-huh. And to do that, Emily's been going to the Woodstock Business Group, which has been wonderful. The business club.
I'm not surprised. It certainly has been for me.
Yeah. Great group. We're members of the Cherokee Chamber of Commerce. So we're building that local presence, that local following, and it's going very, very well. But social media is our friend. Instagram, Facebook are two huge platforms for us.
So part of the reason I ask is I am having an absolute ball. My youngest, Kelly, I mentioned to you before we went on air, and some of our listeners know when we broke Kelly's plate and she moved to Chattanooga, that's what my dad would say, that we broke her plate. She always has a pillow and a plate at our house.
Right.
She's a freelance graphic designer. She has quite a bit of work. She's actually did some of the work over here at the new, at the Stout, at the beer market. Again, I'm in good with the beer. All the bars are out there. And you're going to get a note tomorrow or the next day telling you what a great job you did on today's show with a link to where it's published. And the person who's going to send you that note is Kelly.
Oh,
so she's doing she does a little bit of behind the scenes. And I have so thoroughly enjoyed it. And we have a standing call on Mondays.
Oh, nice.
And we'll catch up. What are we doing for our clients? What are some other things that we need to look into? I have really enjoyed watching her flourish. And it sounds like much like you described, Emily.
Yeah,
she's so much more mature, so much more on top of her work ethic. Her ethos is so far beyond Stone.
Right
at 23, Stone now, but certainly Stone at 23. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that tremendously as well. It's so much fun. Now, do you find yourself not only working with enterprises, businesses, small business, middle-sized, large, but with causes, nonprofits? Do you ever get a chance to work with those?
Yeah, we're very particular about who we work with, but yes, we are able to give back to the community in that way for sure, using tools. And I mean, we've been asked to do signs for races and tumblers for certain events. So yeah, we like to do that.
But even in the cases where maybe they write a check like anyone else, they nonprofits need this type of thing, right?
They do, yes, absolutely.
So and just because they're a nonprofit, well, I learned this a long time ago. We did quite a bit of work with Kaiser Permanente.
Yeah.
Nonprofit. I mean, just because they're a nonprofit doesn't mean they don't make a profit.
Right.
And sometimes X number of dollars invested in your services, even if it's at full, at rack rate,
right,
that's the return on that investment for them is well justified. So, I mean, I think it's great if you find a way to contribute as well, and there's plenty of opportunity, and rightly so, I think, for people with nonprofits, not-for-profits, to be customers.
Oh, absolutely.
And it does strike me as a segment that needs to work, right? I mean, all of those.
So, let's go back and talk about that supply chain. Remember we were talking about that?
Yes,
because that's a big issue. That is actually going to be a big issue for promotional companies during this holiday season. And they're saying that the holiday sales are going to probably go down about 50% this year.
Ouch.
Yeah, because you can't get mugs, you can't get shirts. I mean, to find a white T-shirt right now is incredibly hard. So I guess my message to your folks out there who are listening is if you have holiday gifts or promo gifts that you want to give to your clients during the holidays, right now is the time to get it, because I'm telling you, in a month or two, all of those items will be gone. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's good advice.
They don't have enough people who can empty the trucks. That's what's happening. There's not enough.
So it's a labor thing, or at least that's a big
shortage.
part of it.
Absolutely.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. They don't have enough truckers to move the materials from point A to point B either.
Yeah.
So
I'm not the only one suffering from this.
You are not. No.
We'll be Holly and I will be a client. A Business RadioX will certainly be a client. But I can tell you this idea of engraving the wine bottles, because I like the super unique stuff, and that's not something that most people are going to receive.
Right.
And I mean, there's a whole list of people that would just be thrilled, and maybe we can work with you and Emily and think through what would be creative to engrave on there.
Right. Well, and people at this point in time for the holidays, they will have us do cases of wine for their clients. Law firms, that's really big for them. Bourbon. We did for a bunch of UGA players, we did some $700 bottles of bourbon.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so.
I like my bourbon, but I can honestly say I do not have a $700 bottle anywhere.
Yeah. So, and we've got a laser, so we can also put a logo on and then do the hand engraving underneath the logo. We've done that a few times.
Cow.
So we can marry both the laser and the hand engraving. So,
what fun.
Yeah.
People are going to remember that gift.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even if you buy Stone level bourbon.
No Blanton's? Come on. You like Blanton's?
I do. I love Blanton's.
It's hard to find.
Well, Blanton's it's a little bit like having a boat. You're really better off to have a friend with Blanton's.
Yeah.
Having a friend with a boat is a great idea.
Exactly. You can't even find Blanton's. I tried to find some this week, and you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, sometimes you got to ask behind the counter.
Yeah.
And then and it's better if they see you come in every so often and buy other stuff. And then
Yep.
That's my excuse for going to the liquor store every Saturday.
That's funny. But yeah, the hand engraving is big, especially around the holidays, and we'll be very busy doing that. Last year we did Kroger. We did every Kroger in this area. We engraved wine for Kroger. And
oh, fun.
Yeah. So we've engraved for Whole Foods and Kroger, and so you might see us out there. You'll definitely see us at Local Vine, and they're opening a store in Johns Creek in October.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a second store. So.
All right. Well, we're going to continue to follow this story. I look forward to getting to know you and your company better as this story unfolds. What do you need more of right now, and how can we help?
Basically, it's just getting our name out to the local market. I'd love to have some of the wineries and experience our hand engraving on site. I think it would be perfect for the wineries. Or we've worked a little bit with Reformation Brewery. We've done some engraving there. But, as far as just getting the name out, and I want to sell more of these hats. I think these hats are really
the hats are way cool.
And did you see the name tags at all that we did? We can laser cut your logo out of a name tag and create a name tag with that shape. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
I don't think I've seen those.
Yeah. We did it for Lori at Alpha and Omega, and we did it for Dr. Fahrenheit, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah. And I know Dr. Fahrenheit, and I know Laura Lair, Nurse Celsius, maybe.
Right, exactly.
and I've gotten to know Lori Kennedy through Woodstock Business Club. You talk about just some fine people.
Yeah. They've been great.
Oh, yeah.
And we've done work with Josh Bagby. He's the one behind Cherokee Connect.
I met him. Yeah. We need to get him in the studio.
You do. Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of in the studio, in just a moment before we wrap, I want to make sure that we get your contact info and make it super easy for people to reach out and have a conversation about how you might help them utilize some of these tools to help them go to market more effectively. So I had a really great question, and it just totally. I know what it was. It wasn't a question; it was an idea.
Okay.
No, what struck me while you were talking, if you're up for it, as comfortable as you are behind the microphone, and as much fun as you and I have had in the past doing this kind of thing, if you're up for it, what might be fun? Why don't you come in the studio sometime with one or two of your delighted clients? We'll spotlight their business, so we'll talk about them, but maybe we'll also talk about the relationship and how you guys work together and design a real promotional strategy. Yeah. That might be a fun, special episode thing.
That would be great. I'm sure, one of them would be more than happy to accommodate.
I think that would be fun. And it'd be good for them, and it's great programming for us, of course, anytime to have you in there. But I think maybe it'll also give our listeners that much more of some insight on how you help a company not just do the thing, but create the strategy that helps them reach the objective.
Exactly. Yeah. So we would love that.
Okay, so we're going to make that happen. Now, let's make sure that it's super easy for our listeners to get in touch with you. Whatever you think is appropriate, LinkedIn, website, email, phone number, key to your diary, whatever you want.
588-2300. No, I'm kidding. I wish we had a jingle like that.
That's what you need is a jingle.
I know. No, it's www.InkWellDesigners.com. So that's our website, or you can find us at 833-465-9311, which is 833 InkWell, INKWELL. I actually got that. So
very nicely done. Well, Desiree Colonna with InkWell Designers, it has been an absolute delight having you in the studio today. Thank you so much for joining us. Quite sincere about this other idea. We'll make that happen as well. But thanks for having me. Yeah, it's my pleasure. All right, this is Stone Payton for our guest today, Desiree Colonna with InkWell Designers, and everyone here at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you next time on Cherokee Business Radio.